The world is changing. In Liverpool, England, the Beatles lay down their first tracks. The Soviet Union and the United States quietly glower at each other, nuclear weapons at the ready. 4 black students refuse to leave their spots at a Woolworth's lunch counter in North Carolina. Welcome to 1960. This is a familiar face. John F. Kennedy, Democrat. He ran for president in 1960 against Richard Nixon. JFK's campaign painted Kennedy as the face of change. They branded him as a vigorous, youthful leader who could supply creative solutions to new problems. Why'd they do this? Why'd they take this approach? The Kennedy campaign branded JFK as the candidate for forward thinking and change to highlight the difference between the vigor of the Kennedy-led Democratic Party and the staleness of the Nixon-led Republican Party. In this video, we'll look at 2 examples of Kennedy's campaign strategy. First, his campaign slogan, and second, one of his campaign songs. Kennedy's campaign slogan in the 1960 presidential election was simple. It read, "Leadership for the 60s." However, this seemingly simple message displayed Kennedy's campaign strategy. According to Lawrence R. Jacobs and Robert Y. Shapiro in their article, Issues, Candidate Image, and Priming, the Use of Private Polls in Kennedy's 1960 Presidential Campaign, the Kennedy campaign crafted a move-ahead image for Kennedy that would demonstrate a large difference between the Republican and Democratic candidates. The objective, in particular, was to identify Kennedy with new and dynamic approaches to the country's problems, while tying Nixon to 8 years of Republican do-nothingism. The first word of the slogan, leadership, emphasized the difference between JFK's vigorous agenda and Nixon's lackluster agenda. To accomplish his strategic goal, Kennedy carefully selected a package of issues that would accomplish 2 things. First, he picked issues that attracted both the more extreme activist end of the Democratic Party and the more moderate center of the party. Second, he picked issues that cast an image of himself as a caring leader, full of integrity and pushing for positive change. The Kennedy campaign carefully selected the issues around which they built the campaign by consistently polling the American public. The campaign was then able to overlap the interests of the activists within the party with the interests of the general public. As the campaign wore on, Kennedy's staffers continued to update and change the issues to ensure Kennedy remained relevant. Richard Nixon, on the other hand, didn't pursue such a sophisticated strategy. Instead, he came off as lackluster and tired, very 1950s. Eventually, Nixon adopted a strategy that Jacobs and Shapiro call Me Tooism, in which Nixon attached himself to JFK's policies, saying that he, too, was trying to accomplish what Kennedy was, just in a different way. The second part of Kennedy's slogan is For the 60s. This emphasized the changing world and the unique problems facing America in a new age. Nuclear weapons, trouble in Vietnam, segregation in the South, health care for the elderly. These were all new, complex problems that needed to be met with vitality and creativity. With his slogan, Leadership for the 60s, Kennedy emphasized that he could provide positive leadership in a changing era. At the 1960 Democratic National Convention, Kennedy said this in his acceptance speech.
Some would say that those struggles are all over, that all the horizons have been explored, that all the battles have been won, that there is no longer an American frontier. But I trust that no one in this session would agree with that sentiment. For the problems are not all solved, and the battles are not all won. And we stand today on the edge of a new frontier, the frontier of the 1960s, the frontier of unknown opportunities and perils, the frontier of unfilled hopes and unfilled threats.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through, but not so doggone seasoned that he won't try something new? A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy,
Kennedy, Kennedy, Kennedy.
Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who'll bring the job a fresh new point of view. Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. 'Cause it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy,
Kennedy, Kennedy, Kennedy.
And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. And it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy,
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 Kennedy.
Do you like a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair?
We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you'll cast your vote for Kennedy and the change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Yes, it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Richard Nixon accused Kennedy of youthful inexperience. Kennedy was only 43 years old. What did he know about the complexities of running a superpower? How could he be expected to navigate the ever-increasingly difficult issues at home and abroad? Kennedy countered this argument by stating that while he was young, he actually had quite a bit of experience under his belt, having spent 14 years as either a representative or senator. The campaign song makes this argument in the line, "Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through?" Kennedy further turned the inexperience argument on its head. Inexperienced, he asked, how about youthful and vigorous? This strategy is also evident in the campaign song in the next line, but not so doggone seasoned that he won't try something new. These two lines in the songs were designed to make voters think, well, he may be young, but he's experienced. Yeah, but not so experienced that he isn't creative and ready to meet the challenges of the future. In case anyone missed the message, the song sums it up by stating that Kennedy is a man who's old enough to know and young enough to do. The song then turns to another little bit of propaganda, the claim that JFK was more trustworthy than Tricky Dick, Richard Nixon's political nickname. The song asks, "Do you like a man who answers straight?" This statement was supposed to set up the difference between the incorruptible Kennedy and the corrupted Nixon. This perception was highlighted in the first of 4 political debates between Kennedy and Nixon, held during the 1960 presidential campaign. In the first debate, Nixon appeared shifty and tired, while Kennedy appeared honest and vigorous. In these two examples from John F. Kennedy's 1960 presidential campaign, his slogan, and this campaign song, we can see that Kennedy's strategy was to accentuate the differences between his youthful, vigorous, and creative leadership and Nixon's old, tired, and stale do-nothingism. This campaign was very effective, and Kennedy was able to win the presidency in 1960.